And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Thursday, June 12th, 2025. And here are the important weather headlines or weather-related headlines for across Alaska. So we've had this building ridge of high pressure, not just at the surface, but especially in the mid-upper levels of the atmosphere that's causing much warmer temperatures to expand across the mainland. In fact, already this Thursday afternoon, we've seen temperatures in some areas well into the 70s. A couple spots may flirt with 80 before the day is through. And certainly Friday into the weekend, there are going to be a number of locations across the central and eastern interior that could exceed 80 degrees. And there is a flood watch that has been issued for the North Slope rivers because that warmer air is coming over the Brooks Range as well and going to kick temperatures up in the 60s and even some 70s along the North Slope. So that's going to lead to very rapid snowmelt of the heavy snowpack and then runoff that could cause some flooding there on some of the rivers and creeks along the North Slope. There's also going to be an increasing fire danger across the interior as we go through the weekend and early next week with this warm and generally dry weather. So that's one other thing, and I didn't have room to include, but also the biting bugs will be out in force with this kind of warm up. The mosquitoes and black flies will be very prevalent, especially around wet areas. And then a cool moist southerly flow continues from the North Pacific across the Bering Sea and Aleutians up along the west coast. This is keeping those areas under some lower cloud cover and fog with some occasional periods of rain or showers. And looking in the far north, New Exit, sunny and warm this afternoon, 62 degrees as of mid-afternoon, and that will continue into the weekend. Point Hope, though, further west, and that southerly flow through the Bering Strait and up through the Chukchi Sea. Low stratus clouds and fog and only 40 degrees, so a chilly afternoon there. And McGrath, toward the interior, just west-northwest of the Alaska Range, partly cloudy, already up to 73. Those are fair weather cumulus clouds. They don't have quite the vertical development that you would get showers or thunderstorms from. Now, there are a few areas in the interior, though, that could catch some scattered showers or isolated thunderstorms. And then down in Skagway, there's a cruise ship. There is light rain and fog, an easterly wave working its way out of British Columbia across especially northern Panhandle, producing some lower cloud cover rain and fog there this afternoon. That'll continue tonight into early Friday, only 49 degrees there. So the only notable watch, warning, or advisory we have in effect at this time is the flood watch for the North Slope rivers and creeks. And we'll just get right on to the river breakup map. So all the southern rivers along and south of the Brooks Range, at least the south slopes, are open and flowing. But up here, there's still a lot of snowpack and yet ice on the rivers. And with this rapid warm-up that's underway and will continue into the weekend, we are going to see rapid snowmelt lead to rapid water level rises, and that could lead to some ice jams and erosional type flooding. Keep in mind, just keep an eye on remote airstrips, roads, infrastructure out there could be impacted by higher water levels, so make note of that if you do have a situation like that where you work. Otherwise, here's the flood watch again. Major rivers draining the Brooks Range along the North Slope, so that's the Colville River, Kuparik, Sag, Canning Rivers, and this is Friday through Tuesday afternoon, and the snowmelt is going to be the contributor, and again, as that flows on down the river system, could also break up some ice and cause some ice jam flooding as well as snowmelt flooding. So that's the main concern there. And then with fire weather, with these warm and generally dry conditions in the interior, we've had a very slow start to the fire season, but not anymore. Now, through at least the solstice, June 20th, we are looking for hot and dry weather in the interior, even areas of south central, so the surface fuels are dry. And they do have a high ignition potential. The deep layers are about a week away from supporting aggressive fire behaviors, so that means keeping generally dry and warm conditions now into next weekend. The fire danger will be much more elevated, so be exceptionally careful. If you're going to be doing any sort of outdoor burning, check with the latest restrictions you may have for your borough, because again, that is going to be a concern. And if most fires are started by lightning, we do have the potential for some scattered to isolated thunderstorms, so lightning ignitions will also become more common as we get a little inserts of moisture at times in the interior this coming week. So on the fire danger map, we start with grass. Grass is the greatest carrier of fire early in the season. We are beginning to transition to spruce, which then becomes the main fire carrier. But notice this broad area north and west of the Alaska Range to the south slopes of the Brooks Range. Broad area of high to very high fire danger for grasses. And then you throw in the spruce, same thing. North side of the Alaska Range up to the south slopes of the Brooks Range, we are looking at high to very high fire danger for the day Friday, and that will only continue to grow and probably intensify here as we go through the weekend and certainly early next week. So on the satellite imagery, starting with this Thursday morning, we are looking at an area of cloud cover moving on up into the Panhandle. Here we have this low, this easterly wave working westward across the northern Panhandle for the remainder of this day and into Friday, and that moisture will actually wrap around the low circulation, even though it stays off of the coast of the southwest Panhandle and Haida Gwaii. Meanwhile, westward, we have this southerly moist cool flow. It's cool because it's crossing the cooler waters of the Bering and Chukchi Sea. So as this southerly flow will just keep low stratus clouds and fog going along coastal areas. There will be some steadier rain at times come up through the Aleutians, lower Alaska Peninsula with these systems. The next low coming across the central Aleutians later tonight and Friday morning. And as that low continues back toward the north and northwest, this front will get pushed up along the southwest coast, bringing some additional areas of rain or rain showers and breezier conditions. Meanwhile, in the interior Friday afternoon, especially southeast mainland interior, there'll be a scattering of some showers and isolated to scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon. The one low in the southeastern Gulf begins to slide more south-southwestward. For Saturday, that low continues further southwest of Haida Gwaii. We have high pressure building over the northern Gulf, not an especially strong surface feature. So we have two highs, one up along the north slope, the other here along the Gulf Coast, and then this thermal low in response to the warmer temperatures across the interior into northwest Canada, but it also is a focus for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, out in the Bering, central Bering, we have this occluded front pushing up toward the southwest coast and the Alaska Peninsula. It's going to begin to break down, become more of a trough by the time we get into Sunday. And we still have the thermal lows here in the interior back into northwest Canada. Again, still the potential for some scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms through the course of the weekend, but some very warm temperatures. Some areas of the interior will see 80-degree plus weather. So Friday morning, we're looking at most lows to stay above freezing. The only spot that might get a little colder than that would be up here toward Kaktovik. A few, like Point Thompson, could be just near the freezing mark, but otherwise 40s Panhandle, 40s South Central, some 50-plus degree readings as you go from the middle upper Yukon, Tanana Valley. And then on Friday, we expect 82 Fort Yukon, Fairbanks over toward Tanana, 80 even at Northway and around Eagle, so very warm temperatures. 76 or so at Talkeetna, 70 potentially in first 70-degree reading, at least at Ted Stevens in Anchorage. We find highs 50s, maybe an isolated 60 southern Panhandle Friday afternoon. Cooler readings along the west coast. That moist southerly flow keeps temperatures mainly in the 40s with some low cloudiness, fog, and some areas of rain or rain showers. Saturday morning, again, temperatures even milder up here in the North Slope, 42 the low along the eastern Beaufort Sea at Kaktovik and Dead Horse. We're looking at 50s through the Tanana and middle upper Yukon valleys, 40s Panhandle, 40s to near 50 South Central, maybe 36, 37 there at Wales at the Bering Strait and over at Savunga. And then temperatures on Saturday afternoon, even warmer, 86 Yukon Flats, 85 or so there at Fairbanks and Tanana. So this is really going to dry things out. And if have enough moisture in the low levels to get a thunderstorm going. There could be a few lightning strikes, but even up here along areas of the North Slope, there will be 60s and even some 70-degree readings through the course of the weekend. Should recover a bit back up into the at least lower, maybe a couple mid-60s for the Panhandle on Saturday. So look at this temperature outlook. This is centered on the solstice. So summer solstice this year is June 20th. And this is the time period, June 18th through the 22nd. And there is going to be a large ridge of high pressure right over the mainland. So this area within red, including the Alaska Range up through Fairbanks, up to the middle Yukon, the upper Susitna Valley, could see a high likelihood of above to much above normal temperatures. Coolest readings will be down here across the central southern Panhandle. Temperatures are expected to average below normal, due mainly because of where the position of the ridge is, and also due to potential for some cloud cover or a little rain that way. And the extended precip outlook, though, interestingly enough, is not all that wet for a change. We've had a cool, wet spring, southern mainland into the Panhandle, looking like precipitation still near normal across the Panhandle, June 18th through the 22nd. Near normal in through the interior Alaska Range, a little below normal, drying out now in south central, the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage on over toward Bethel, Dillingham, down along the Alaska Peninsula, trailing out through Sand Point. So that's not necessarily good news because that's only going to increase the fire danger in these regions. But nevertheless, quite a pattern change, definitely warmer and potentially drier weather here now through the upcoming summer solstice.